If you click this video, chances are that you've been told all sorts of different growth hacks promising great results, but none of them have actually worked. Because the truth is, there are no growth hacks that are gonna be shortcuts to success when it comes to building a YouTube channel. But there are proven principles that will guarantee long-term success and growth, and that's what I want to talk about in this video. No growth hacks or shortcuts, but long-term principles that actually will work. If I were to start a brand new YouTube channel in 2024, these are the two things that I would focus on in order to grow. The first half of my focus would be on quantity. Because if you're gonna be a successful content creator, you're gonna have to get in the business of posting a whole lot of content consistently. Because each piece of content that you post is like taking a shot at the net. And the more shots you take on net, the more likely you're gonna score some goals. When you post lots of content consistently, the YouTube algorithm is gonna pick up those videos and bring traffic to your channel, which will result in growth. Now, this is easier said than done because I know so many people who start a YouTube channel and they start out strong for the first few months, but then they hit a creative roadblock or they just burnt out in the process. And the reason for this is that they don't have the right system in order to come up with ideas and execute them. As a YouTube content creator, it's true, you should be posting as much as possible, but you wanna do it in a way that's sustainable. I'm talking about creating content for the long term, not just 3 to 6 months, but 5 to 10 years. Because that's often what it takes to create a successful YouTube channel. The system that I use in order to create a whole bunch of content consistently and sustainably is called the weekly rhythm. When I started as a YouTube content creator, my workflow for creating videos looked like this. First, I'd come up with an idea, then I'd write a script for that idea, then I'd go out and film that video, then I would spend time editing the video, and then I'd all of a sudden frantically try to come up with a title and thumbnail, and then I would upload it. And I would see what kind of views and comments would come in, and then I would start that process all over again. This process was actually really draining because it took so much energy to jump from one mode to the next, and in the end, I would only get one piece of content as a result. That's why now I've adopted a whole new system into my workflow called the weekly rhythm, where for each day, I set specific tasks and I do it in a batch process. So instead of just coming up with one video idea and filming one video and making that one video, all of a sudden I'm able to create multiple pieces of content all at the same time. Having this system in place, I'm able to save so much time and energy, and as a result, post a lot more and more consistently. So day one of the weekly rhythm starts with ideation. I'll start the week off by literally spending a few hours just coming with a whole bunch of ideas that helps the people who are watching my videos and the pain points that they're going through. We're gonna talk more about this in the second half of the video, so don't tap out because you wanna make sure that you watch this all the way to the end, because otherwise you're just gonna get half the package from this video. When it comes to coming up with ideas, I like to break down the ideas into different categories. Rather than having this huge pile of ideas, I find it so much more helpful to break it down to different categories and just make it more concrete that way. So for example, my channel's focus is to help beginner content creators. And based on that mission and the audience that are watching my videos, I want to break down the ideas in different categories that would help them most. So for my channel, my video ideas fall into the following categories: gear reviews, tutorials on the creative process, tutorials on the business process, and motivational or inspirational content. So if on average I post 8 long form videos on my main channel, that means I should come up with ideas for 2 gear reviews, 2 tutorials on the creative process, 2 tutorials on the business process, and then 2 videos for some sort of motivational or inspirational content that I wanna make. When I break down the amount of videos that I wanna make into these different categories, it makes it a lot less overwhelming, and as well, it makes sure that I'm diversifying my content rather than just doing only one type of content all the time and boxing yourself in. Also, having these categories just makes the whole brainstorming process a lot easier because it's not just all over the place, it's much more directed and focused. So once I spend a few hours coming with a whole bunch of ideas, I choose my top 8 ideas, and then it's time to go to the next stage, which is stage number 2, titles and thumbnails. Like I said earlier, I used to come up with a title and thumbnail at the end of the video, which was just a complete disaster. I would just try to force a title and a thumbnail on the video afterwards, which didn't make sense at all because I should have chosen the title and thumbnail from the beginning because that's gonna be the driving force for the theme of that video. When it comes to titles and thumbnails, I think of them the same as the DVD cover back in the days of Blockbuster. You know, you'd go to the local DVD rental store and based on the title and the front cover of that DVD, you'd choose whether or not you want to rent and watch that DVD. And same with YouTube videos. Based on the title and the thumbnail, people are gonna decide, do I wanna invest my time and energy into watching this video? So that's why you want a thumbnail that really stands out and a title that's either compelling and creates some sort of intrigue and curiosity, or a very searchable and relatable title that people know when they click that video, that's what they're gonna get when they watch it. Those are essentially the two different strategies when it comes to titles. Either you're gonna do that clickbait, intrigue kind of title, or a very searchable title for your video. Step number 3 in my weekly rhythm is scripting. So basically, when I have a minimum of 2 ideas with a title and thumbnail ready, then I'm gonna start scripting. Again, it takes a whole bunch of energy to get into the process of scripting, but once you get into that flow, it's really easy to write multiple scripts for multiple videos. So in the long run, you're gonna end up saving a whole bunch of energy and time because you don't need to go through that whole process each time you write a script. When I'm scripting, I prefer to write my script word for word, but for other people, they prefer just to write bullet points or the main idea. There's really no right or wrong way to do this. It's ultimately figuring out what works best for you and your personality. Step number 4 in the weekly rhythm is filming. I don't know about you, but for me, the biggest hurdle in content creation is often just getting myself to sit down and start filming. For some reason, it's so hard to start, but once you start, it gets a lot easier. I guess it's because there's just so much setup when it comes to getting the camera and the tripod and the lights and the audio ready before you can actually start the whole filming process. So instead of spending all that energy to do all the work to set everything up for just one video, it's much easier to film multiple videos at once. So for example, now in this sitting, I'll probably end up filming multiple talking head shots for a few different video pieces. It's the same for reels. I'll often come up with 5 to 10 different ideas and have the scripts ready, and then in one sitting film all 5 to 10 reels rather than just doing all the setup and work just for one single reel. Batch filming a whole bunch of videos ends up me saving a whole lot of time and energy and allows me to create content a lot more consistently and sustainably. Step number 5 in the weekly rhythm is editing. And this is probably the biggest bottleneck when it comes to a content creator's workflow. We end up spending a lot of time editing a whole bunch of videos and it ends up actually taking even more time than to edit them. That's why personally I love to batch edit all my videos. So for example, if I was to edit 5 to 10 reels, it's much easier to edit a whole bunch of reels than just one reel, because with 5 to 10 reels, what I can do is I can edit the first reel, do the color grade, do the audio effects, and then I can just copy and paste all those to the next reels, because most likely you film the talking head shots in the same environment with the same lighting, so you don't need to reinvent the wheel each time. And then the second thing that I love to use, and this is where it gets really good, is using Motion VFX, which is the sponsor of this episode. If you are a Final Cut Pro user or a DaVinci user, Motion VFX is the best place to get all your motion graphics and templates for your videos. I mean, if you're coming up with titles, backgrounds, motion graphics, any kind of effects for your videos, Motion VFX is the place to go, and I use them on a daily basis for all of my videos. Let me tell you why. In the past, when I was using Adobe Premiere and After Effects, if I wanted a cool effect or some sort of motion graphic, it would literally take me hours to create it by hand. But now with Motion VFX, it's just a simple click, drag to your timeline, adjust the duration of the effect, and it's automatically gonna adjust to that. You can choose whether you want the animate in or out, on or off. You can change the text, the colors to make it personalized to your style. But all of this process literally just takes a few minutes. And the best part is, once you've done the work to create these different motion graphics and titles and templates, you can literally just drag and drop them into a separate project timeline. And then whenever you open a new project, what I like to do is I like to have them already in there. So I have my subscribe button, I have different titles that I use, I have my end screen annotations, I have lower thirds to show off what music I'm using. All these different motion graphics are just sitting in a project timeline. And when I open up a new project and I start editing, I can just drag and drop these same effects into my next video, which means I don't need to go through the whole process of figuring out all my different motion graphics and effects each and every time. I can just copy and paste and use the same ones and have a nice uniform look to all of my content. This is honestly probably one of the biggest editing hacks that I have in my complete workflow when it comes to editing. So if you want to consistently make a whole bunch of content without burning out, I would highly recommend checking out Motion VFX. And if you use the link in my description and my code TEPOMVFX, you'll actually get 10% off, which the great people at Motion VFX have offered for my audience. So enjoy that. Highly recommend. Go and check out their motion graphics, their plugins, their templates, because they are the absolute best and I use on a daily basis all the time when I'm editing my videos. As well, the kind folks at Motion VFX want to give back to you guys, and I've actually sprinkled into this video 3 different codes that's going to give you 1 free plugin worth $100 from their website. So have fun looking for these codes throughout the video. I wish everyone could be a winner, but hey, at least everyone can use the 10% discount. As well, you are supporting my channel by using my code and the link in my description because I do get a small kickback, so I do appreciate very much. All right, the last and final stage of the weekly rhythm, number 6, is uploading. Instead of just uploading a video one at a time, I love to pre-upload all my long form videos ready for the next week and a whole bunch of reels into my Instagram account just as drafts. That way, when it comes time to publishing, I don't have to go through all the work and hassle depending on where I am during that day. Instead, it's just one little click saying go public or post and I'm ready to go. So that's one little life hack in this weekly rhythm system that I love to use. Pre-upload everything and you don't have to worry about it on the day of posting. Now, everything that I've shared up to this point in the video about quantity and posting a whole bunch of content consistently and sustainably doesn't make sense without the second half, which is quality. Because there's no point in posting a whole bunch of crap that doesn't provide value for your audience. That's right, you heard me. There is a whole bunch of content out there that's complete crap that does not offer any value for their audience, so don't go down that path. Make sure that whenever you're creating content, always ask yourself, does this content provide value for my audience? And providing value can look like a whole bunch of things to different people. For some people, it might be that you just provide entertainment. You make people laugh and put a smile on their face. That's providing value. For other people, you might be providing information. You might be an educational type of content creator who's providing value by educating your audience. Or your goal might be to simply motivate and inspire your audience. All those 3 things are really great, and if you can do a mixture of 2 or 3 of them, even better. If you're a triple threat that you can create entertaining content while being informational, while being motivational, you have a great piece of content in your hands. Now at this point, you still might be a little bit confused as to how do you actually provide value? How do you know what your audience needs to hear more about? And ultimately, it comes down to understanding and knowing your audience, knowing who you're creating for, what are their desires, what are their pain points, and when you know that, then you know how to create the content that would help them with those problems. So before you start this whole weekly rhythm process, make sure that you've taken time to figure out who are you? What makes you special? What do you have to offer? And who are you offering this value to? Who is your audience? Because when you know your audience well, then you know what kind of content you should create in order to provide value. So to recap everything that I've said in this video, if you want to grow your YouTube channel in 2024, you need 2 things. You need quantity and quality. You need to post a whole bunch of content consistently and sustainably because you don't want to burn out, and you want to make sure that that content provides value to your audience. When you have those 2 things, I can guarantee you that you will grow your YouTube channel and you will become a successful YouTube content creator. Again, these are no growth hacks or shortcuts. These are tried and tested principles that I've used and many other content creators have used. And if you use them as well, you will grow and become a successful YouTube content creator. All right, guys, that's it for today. Everything about how to grow a YouTube channel in 2024. If you enjoyed this video and you feel like this video provided you value, would you consider subscribing right here? And I'd love for you to enjoy the videos right here. I'll see you next week.